Hello everyone, good morning. Today we have Sophie with us from US. Please tell us something about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Sophia and I came to the United States as a master's student and I came in 2015. I graduated in 2017 and since then I've been working with a fintech company as a business system analyst. So it's been about like four and a half years that I'm working as a BA now.
That's good. And what you studied in India?
I did my bachelor's in IT, and then I also did my master's in IT, MSc IT, like we know it, and that's mostly because my bachelor's was a 3 years degree. After 12th, it was a 3 years degree, and it was not like engineering, which is 12 plus 4. So I had to do master's to be able to, for qualifying for most of the universities here, they require a 12 plus 4 education background. So that's why I had to do master's. There was an option I could have quit my master's halfway through, and then I could have applied for universities here. But I wanted to get a degree in India as well, just in case things don't work out here. I'm able to go back to at least a master's degree. Yeah. So I did my master's there, and then again I completed my master's here.
Exactly. And what course you opted for there?
I did information systems. It's similar to information technology, what we have in India, but it's more managerial, like how management side of IT is. It's not very technical. It's not coding based, or like it's not very heavy on technical aspects, but it's more like management, informational, like how do you manage your business, combining it with IT.
So any exam you gave, any competitive exam you gave for this particular course to enroll?
Yes, I did. I gave my GRE, and then I also gave TOEFL. But GRE, some universities require and some don't. So it's based on university. My university did require GRE, but TOEFL is a must. TOEFL almost every university requires, and GRE is like university respective. Like it depends on the university.
Right. And what was your score in GRE, or if I may ask about what is the cutoff score that university look for specifically for your course?
So for my course, it was like about 290, 295, and my score was 298, which was like just right above average. It also depends, like my university is very good with computer science, and information systems was average ranked, but the computer science course is like very nicely ranked. And for that, I think 305 and above is required. But having said that, GRE score does not, that was like a big myth for me. Like if your score in GRE is good, you can apply for good universities. But if you have a good experience, work experience, and your overall profile is good, your engineering degree, your bachelor's degree scores are good, I think even then you can give it a shot, like to ambitious university. GRE score alone does not determine which university you should apply. It does have an impact, but it's not the only thing that determines.
Right. So, you talked about experience. So what kind of experience they look for in some IT industry, or what kind of experience they look for?
It's based, like what stream are you going to apply for? Like if my field was information system, so if I had an experience working with some IT company, that would have added some more points to my profile. It's not like a disadvantage, but it's always like on the better side if you have experience, so that when you're writing your statement of purpose, because that's also a component in your application package. So when you're writing your statement of purpose, you can have like real-time experience, real-time what do you want, what have you learned, and like why are you applying for that specific course, how will it add to your career, all those things. Like if you have experience, I think it gives you an edge.
Right, exactly. And why you have selected USA only? Like As a country you selected, or you selected the university first, or your course first? Why this country?
I selected the country first because IT really has very good scope here. Like almost every other company uses some kind of like IT or like system that will let you have more job opportunities, and the work culture here for IT companies provide for IT professional. And the university, I think there are multiple factors that play into while you're choosing your university. First being the curriculum, like what courses IS in my university might not be the same in some other university, right? So first your curriculum. And then I also was seeing how many internship opportunities will be there. How many, like my university is UMBC. So that is located in Baltimore in Maryland. Just right, like about 1 hour of drive, there's DC, there's 1 hour of drive, you get to Virginia. Like these places offer good internship opportunities. Even Philadelphia was like 2 hours away. So these are the things that I considered before choosing my university. I did have admits from different universities, but because this was a public school, had opportunities, internship opportunities, also the demographic, like there were not a lot of Indians. So that also reduces the on-campus job competition. I really needed an on-campus job. And if there are a lot of Indians and a lot of Chinese, the competition is higher. So that was also one of the factors that played into selecting the university.
Okay, so you applied it. You applied in this single university, or you applied in various other universities as well?
I had applied for 6 universities. 2 were ambitious, like my based on my score and my profile. Ambitious, like you can categorize ambitious, which is like ranked highly and like you might or might not get into the university. It's like 2 were moderate, which were like, okay, I can get into that university. It's of my profile. It will, there are a lot of students of my profile. And 2 of like safe category, where I definitely have a chance, because you don't want to waste all that money that you put in, right? So I had to diversify my options a little bit.
Right.
So I did get admitted from like 3 to 4, but UMBC was like the best choice for me with respect to the fees and the, like I said, internships and on-campus jobs.
So from any university or college, you get rejection or something? And if any idea you have the reason for the rejection that they provide to any of your colleague or classmate or student that you know?
Rejection, I think I had from 2, like the Rochester University, and then there was a UIS. UIS is a public school. I think the GRE, there no work experience, and then just on the basis of my master's degree, it was like a tough competition over there. And same was Rochester. They, I think, expect like a stronger profile candidate. So those 2 were rejected.
Okay. So you selected this country just because of the opportunity and all. If I can conclude this as why you selected this.
And of course, like US has like dollar is stronger than I could have gone to Canada because the immigration process is not as strict as US. But again, IT is not very strong in Canada, like when you compare it with US.
Exactly. True. So what benefits you see when anyone or any student is studying abroad? What are the benefits that they look for, and what, in your opinion, that matters? If that same student study in India and that student is studying the same course abroad, so what are the benefits they look for?
So there are like multiple from perspective, if you see professionally and personally. Professionally, I would say, because the coursework is not streamlined for each and every student. Like if I do masters in IT, in MSc IT, we had like specific course that we were given, and we had to like prepare for our exam, study the same thing. And then like, even if you're not interested in like robotics, I had robotics and I had no interest in it. So studying that subject, putting my energy and effort into it might not be like very useful in the future. Whereas in the US, you get to do only fundamentals. Like those are like compulsory for you. You have to do those fundamental courses. And after that, you have the flexibility to choose and pick courses. So if you're, for example, if you're interested in finance, even if the course is information systems, you can still pick a course which is related to finance or health IT, and you can like mix and match based on your interest and your career options, like where your interest aligns. So I think that was one of the major thing or differences that I saw in India and in US.
Exactly. And how important the language is. You gave TOEFL for that purpose only, where you were
Yes,
evaluated
English.
based on English, right? So
Yes.
how much importance should be given to the language? Because nowadays many students get rejected because of the low score in that language
Yeah.
exam. So how much importance should be given, and how much important it is, for the language? Right now in US, during US, so US has first language as English only, so there is no problem, right? But there are many other countries, but we'll talk about the USA. So yes, how language plays very important role.
It does, because not just like the curriculum wise, if you want to work somewhere, people should be able to understand you. You should be able to understand people even during courses, like when the professor is explaining. English is like, I think the second language here is Spanish, but without that, you can still survive. It's not very important, but English is a must. You have to. And then some, if you don't meet the minimum eligibility for TOEFL, some university would mandate you to take English courses here. So that was one of, so my TOEFL score was 93, which was also average, like wasn't very great or like wasn't very bad. UMBC, my university did not have any requirement. They had like 80 was the cutoff for TOEFL. So for me, it was fine. But the other university had, I think, 95. So they were asking me if I can take another English course after coming here. And that is sometimes a trick from the university to just take additional fees. And that was costing me like $2,000 extra, which is like 120 or 140 lakhs. So I didn't want to go through all that when my university didn't have any such requirements. So that is also like based on university, but there is like a minimum cutoff. Like most of the universities will have it as 80.
Right. Now, after selecting your universities or your courses and everything, now you're done. So now next part comes is paying your fees, right? So how you managed your finances in terms of specifically fees, how you paid your fees. Is it self-financed, or you paid it in full, or you took student loan?
I did take student loan. So because my brother was here, my loan was from the US, but in the visa interview, I didn't want to show that my brother is my co-signer. So I did take the loan from India. I got it approved. And in my visa interview, I showed the documents that my loan is approved from India, because I didn't want to show any connection, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, you're dependent on your brother, and based on that, they might reject your visa. So I didn't want to show any connection with my brother. I just took a loan from India, showed the approval notice, but I never really took disbursement from that Indian bank. I finally, when I landed here, I took my disbursement from, my fees were from the bank in the US.
Okay. So that is also possible, but somebody should be there for that, right?
Yes. And also I would like to add, like, it's normally not just the fees, it's your living cost. Like for me, it was like about $500 to $600 a month. Just like the basics, paying your rent, your utilities and stuff like that. And other than that, there was like health insurance. Fees is one thing, but health insurance is also very expensive here. So those things also add up. Apart from my loan, like the last semester and the second last semester, I was able to cover up from my internships that I did. So I really didn't have like a huge loan. Now that I look back at it, I was able to repay it like within 1.5 years. But just that because I had internships and on-campus jobs, those really helped me get through.
Right. So as you said, medical insurance is very heavy. So that insurance is not included in fees, because many universities, they give medical insurance and that is included in their fees. So in your university, that was not the case. You have to take.
So when they give the fee structure, it is like $3,000 per course, or like $10,000, whatever the fees is.
Mm.
And if you calculate that amount does not add the insurance.
Oh.
So like for second semester and then third semester, when I was going to pay my fee, it only didn't have the course fees. It also had $2,000 extra for the insurance. That was not included.
Okay, now let's talk about, you have paid your fees, now you land into that particular country. So what was your first impression about that country or the city in which you landed? So was it as per your expectation, or the reality check was something else?
I think I was pleasantly surprised, because Baltimore is not very popular, like a safe city. The crime rate was high, the demographics were not great, like a lot of very less Indians here, and crime rate was high. There are like a lot of drug cases and all that. So I was kind of very scared to come here. But the student area, the student community where most of the students live, that was dominated by Indians, and it was closer to university. So that was like very safe, and I didn't feel scared to like come back from the university at 9 p.m. at night. So that was something that I didn't expect. I was more scared before I landed here in the US. But after I landed, I felt, okay, this is better than what I expected.
And anyone, or I can say, first shock that you got, not only surprise in terms of anyone shock that I didn't expect this. So your first shock.
Shock as in like a bad
Anything,
experience, or
yeah. When it is shock, it will be like, I didn't expect that. Yeah,
I
kind
think
of
just
bad.
like how expensive things were. And I think when we live with our parents, we don't realize so many things that go into surviving. Those things you only will realize after you start living alone. Like how much does a gallon of milk cost? And that is, oh my God, it's like when you compare it with like Indian currency, I remember still like counting, like converting
You keep
dollars
on
into rupees.
converting. True.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh shit, that's like so expensive. I can do without these apples, things like that. Those were like very shocking at first, but now that I'm used to it, now when I go to India, I convert like, oh, okay, this is only $20.
Now you convert reversely, and then you will feel
Yeah.
like, oh, now it's nothing, like it's cheap. Like I can afford it in that sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about your studies, right? When you were in university. So let us start with how that learning is when it compared to Indian learning, right? Indian education system, talking about only colleges and universities. So how that learning is different.
Mhm. So in India, I think even if it's streamlined, it's very thorough. When you have some examinations coming, you have to like study the textbooks. You have to like be prepared with everything that's in the textbook. Sometimes it may be a good thing, sometimes it's not, because if you're not interested in that subject, like I said, robotics, I barely was interested.
Exactly.
For those courses like that, studying the entire textbook and like spending nights on that might be a little taxing. But in the US, it's more based on practical knowledge and concepts. So in the classrooms, they'll only give you what concepts they are going to cover and like a brief introduction. But when you go home, you have to do your own research, and it depends on you how much in depth you want to, study that. And of course, the exams are like not as lengthy or like as difficult as it's in India, I would say. Because in India, I think they also expect your answer to be to match what's in the textbook. Whereas here it's more concept based. If you have clear concepts, you'll do in the exams fine.
Right. And if you compare teachers and students there, because there are definitely localites there. So did you feel any kind of racism or groupism, or somebody is not talking to you, they are isolating some group of students or something like that? You felt ever with respect to
I did
student
not
as well as teachers?
So my batch, like my first semester here, I think in my classroom, they didn't know how strictly they take, like how seriously they take plagiarism here. And professors will just give you a B minus or C, or even like fail you if they feel that answer is copied. So that's one thing that I've learned that from, and the entire batch got B minus in that course because of like few students. And mostly were Indians who actually did that. But other than that, I
So
did not.
sorry to cut you in between, but that is what, like copying each other's answer you are
Yes.
talking. Okay.
Yes, assignments you just cannot
Oh.
copy blindly. If you want, you can refer it and then you can frame it in your own words. But copying it from the website or from others' assignment is just not okay here.
Otherwise,
And
in India, it is a trend. One
copy
or two
paste.
student will do, and others will copy. Yeah.
Yeah, and but not just that, you cannot copy from even websites, because there are tools to check, and like if your answers are, and everything is submitted online, right? So it's very easy for them to check your answers with the that's found on the website. So you always have to like reframe it, rephrase it, understand it, write it in your own words. That's one thing. But other than that, I did not feel any racism against Indians. We had very less Indians as compared to other universities, but when there were projects, our professors would like try to like mix and match of all races, and then we didn't feel anything different even with the localites or with the Indian students that had come.
And how about the study material, the books that you get? Everything is hard copied. How was the library access? And the material is only online, or offline material is also provided by the university or college?
So I did not purchase even a single textbook. It's so expensive here, but the textbooks are all available in the library. It's very easily accessible. Like college library is just the best. You'll get everything that you need, and even if you don't, you always get a PDF version of the textbook. So I did not spend even a penny on textbooks here.
Right. And how university or college helps foreign students, being an Indian student or any other country student, how they help them settle down there? Is there any program that run through, or is there any separate, there is a firm who is helping for foreign
So the
students?
university just has like a department for international students, like to help on boarding of the students. But our university, like most of the university, do have like communities, and our university had like Indian community, and they would help uh, get accommodations like housing and stuff. You also can sign a lease being in India. So that community would help you find houses, or like help you make bank accounts after you land. So that was very helpful for us. The only thing that I mean, I did have connection, but if I had better connections with the community here, it would have been more helpful. But it's always greener on the other side. So it's still fine. I did manage to have a bank account and everything, and on-campus job after a few days of landing here.
And how are the exams there? Are they easy or hard, or you have exams? What are the patterns? Basically, in India, we have 3 hours writing pattern, right? We have subjective questions, and we do write. We do have MCQs also. So, what are the exam patterns over there, and how are they? Easy, hard, or it's okay?
So, like in India, we have unit tests and semesters and then final exams. We don't generally have those kind of things. We do have like quizzes in between, and all those quizzes collectively account for your final grade. But those quizzes can be like randomly pop quiz or like surprise test or something like that. And those are primarily objectives, like what we call in India, just fill in the blanks or MCQs. Very few, I think, were like answered in brief and sort of, but otherwise like practicals, projects, and like objective based questionnaires.
And were they easy? Like, were they easy to handle,
If the
or
concept is clear, you'll find it easy. If the concept is not, it's not easy.
right, right. And while studying, how to network, because when you are studying, you are totally focused on your studies, your assignments. You go to college, you come home, and then you complete your assignments. And where the time is to network, and we know that networking is so important after graduation. That thing will help you, right? So, how to
Yeah.
network? How to do networking while studying?
I think our college projects were very helpful. in networking with other students and seeing if they like what are their interests, or like if they have any connections or referrals that they can, because not everyone is like a fresher. They can have like 4 years of experience. They might have like worked in an industry and then come back to do masters. And like I did have classmates that had like 5 years of experience, and they were like very elder to me, and still they wanted to do their masters after a few years of experience, like work experience. So it's always better to like have projects, not just with like your Indian group, but to like socialize and make connections there. That was one. And then colleges do have a job fair here. Like we have placements in India, companies will come and pick students. But here there are job fairs, like in and multiple companies will come to your university where you can submit your resume, you can talk to the HR, and if they like you, they'll give you a call back later and then schedule the entire interview. But there's no placement sort of thing. There is job fair. So you can socialize and make connections there. And it doesn't guarantee a job, but at least it gives you an opportunity to submit your resume and then express how useful you can be, or like how is your experience in the IT industry. So stuff like that, you can like talk to them one-on-one basis.
Right. And while studying, a part-time job is also very important for students, right? Because you need to earn also. So what are the opportunities available for international students as part-time jobs, and how much or how many hours they can work, and what is the payment share like?
So from the first semester itself, you can work on-campus job. On-campus jobs is only like 20 hours a week. You cannot work full time.
Any specific permission that student has to take, or if they are on
No.
student visa directly, they can go and work? Because in Canada, they have to apply for some permit. In UK also, they have to apply. In US, it's not.
So that permit only comes after your second semester is completed. And when you want to do some internships, that is called a CPT. So when you want to do internships outside of your college, you have to apply for CPT. But if you want to do just on-campus jobs in a library, or like a TA or a GA, or even like in dining services, that does not require permission. So I did have a job after 2 weeks of landing in the US, and I really needed like some source of income for, your monthly rent payment and stuff like that. So that did not require any permission from the university.
Exactly. So that is fine. But after I think that permit comes, student can work in any of the industry or small institute or anywhere, right? That does
so
not
that
limit.
has to align with your course. Because if I've taken IS or like IT or CS, I cannot just work in media. So that will not have the USCIS or your university will not approve that. You need to have the internship that aligns with your coursework. Also, the internship do have credits. So if that is something that you can show in your university, that's also a plus thing for your, your resume for later job search.
And that part-time jobs are sufficient for student to survive in terms of payment, in terms of what they are earning.
So if you're working on campus, there is always a minimum wage for the state. It can be $9 an hour and $10. Now it must have increased, but when I was working, it was $9 an hour. And that was like sufficient just like to meet ends for your rent, your electricity, internet, grocery, stuff like that. But once you start doing your internship, like I said, I also paid my fees from the internship money. So that is like quite sufficient for you to survive and then pay your fees. Like if the internship is like paying you well enough.
Right. And how your day-to-day, household chores are being done? Because, in India, everything is done by Indian parents. Indian students or Indian kids, if I can say, they are very much pampered because we have all the facilities and everything. So how that can be managed, and how you managed it?
So like you were asking me about shock in the US, that was one shock. Like you have to do literally everything. Nobody will do anything for you. If you have like very good roommates and they love you a lot, that's a different story. But you have to cook, you have to clean dishes, you have to do your laundry. And just like sometimes you miss the rent payment and then you have to like go to the office and pay your rent, just like deposit the check. But you also have your submissions coming in and you just have to like manage these things. So there were like multiple times that I was like, oh no, I have to have the submission. And because my job was also there, I was doing like, at a time I was also doing internship, and I also had my on-campus jobs. And I was trying to work 40 hours with my classes, and then managing cooking and all that is difficult. But still, like there is struggle, but at the end, obviously, it's like all worth it.
Definitely. And how to deal with homesickness? Definitely you are busy with your assignments, your college, your work, and everything. But when there is some festival or some special occasion is there, at that time you miss your family a lot, right? Your country a lot. So how to deal with that homesickness? But I know
So
that
you know,
your brother was already there, but still I can
but
ask
he
that.
was on the other side of the country, and it was
Okay.
like an 8-hour flight. I only met him like once, maybe in course of like 2 or 3 years. And now we are in the same state. But when I just came here, I would call my mom at least twice a day, sometimes even thrice a day. But when there's festival, you miss your family more. So that's when you gather with like all your Indian friends. And then we also had this Indian community that would, celebrate Diwali or Holi. So I definitely would make sure that I want to participate. I do want to go to these events so that I don't feel homesick. And there are still moments, like no matter what you do, you still want to be with your family. But I think with time that eases out a little bit.
True, true, true. And how is the medical system for students? Like, is there any walk-in clinics? Because if somebody is like, God forbid, if they met some accident or something, so is there directly they can directly visit to hospital? And how about if some minor things are there, like cold and cough, they can directly visit to physician, or appointment has to be scheduled? Like, what all things are there for especially for students when they are not.
So the insurance that was provided by a university, that was pretty good. It would cover like 80% of the expense, and the rest 20% has to be paid by you. So if it's like a minor thing, normally the universities do have like a healthcare system established, and then you can just go to a doctor, like whichever is closest in your university. But if the doctor is not able to tell what's happening, they might refer you. Sorry, they might refer you to a different doctor. And there you can just give you can walk into any hospital really that's covered in your insurance plan. So that information, what's in your insurance, what hospitals you can go to, you can call the insurance company and check. Or you can also like get that information from the university. And they will also refer you to a doctor which is in their network. And I actually had like a skin. I didn't know that I was super allergic to bed bugs. And none of my roommates are allergic. And my roommates were not having any issues. And I didn't know that the house had bed bugs. And my skin had like a lot of rashes. So I had to visit the doctor once because I was thinking that what's happening to my skin? It's all red and like, and the university doctor was like, no, it's like there must be some kind of insect. And I was just not agreeing because nobody else was having any problem. So, but yeah, it was very simple. And then my doctor was able to advise. So I didn't have to go to an outside doctor while I was a student. Now I do have to go sometimes for like dentist appointment and all that. But when I was a student, I didn't need to.
Right. So they can directly visit to the doctor, which are, that there must be some approved list of physicians that you
In
will
the
get and
network,
that you can, so that you can visit. Okay. Then, culture is totally different than our Indian culture. So how to get involved in that culture? Because that is what very much important. If you will stay there with your country's mindset, you will be left alone, and then you will start feeling homesickness, right? So how to get along with the locals over there, how to meet them, and how to get involved.
There are meetup groups here, like you can, so I was in Baltimore, right? So I would like I would go on Facebook and type meetup groups in Baltimore. So those are really, there might be like 20 to 25 people, and not just Indians, like people from everywhere. And they would also decide restaurants to go to or some bars they can go. And then if there's some music or like once I went to a meetup group and they just gave us a task, 10 things that make you happy, 10 things that make you sad. And then once you come up with that list, they'll just discuss it out. And it was like quite an experience for me. Like I made 2-3 friends over there. So I think that's if you don't find friends in your own university, you can still step out and join some meetup group and try to socialize there.
Right. Now the social media is there, so that helps a lot. I think before
Yes.
15 years it might have been difficult, but now it is easy, to mingle up like-minded people, right? Exactly.
Yes,
And
definitely.
what one thing you will advise to upcoming students that you must carry this thing from India? Thing.
So if you're a student, I think spices are most expensive here. Like what we say, khade masale. That is very expensive here. You still
Okay.
get it over here. It's not like you don't get it. It's just like it's very expensive. But once you start working, you don't really like my bag to India is just like one bag. I don't even carry 2 bags now because you get everything over here. You don't really need to like get everything from India. But if you're a student, yeah, I get it. Like things are expensive here and you don't want to spend that much. So spices for sure.
Exactly. And one last advice from your side to students that you must remember this thing if you are a student in USA or if you are coming, advice or one thing that you would like to
I think
suggest.
for me, socializing with the seniors or like the committee members before coming to US or my university would have helped, because a lot of the seniors are already having on-campus jobs, right? And if you like make connections with them, they will help you land in a similar job, or they can also give you referrals. So I think that was one thing that I missed. And I mean, I did know a few of the people, but they didn't have like a job that they could refer me to. But if you try to join the committee, or on LinkedIn, you can see the students in UMBC, right? You list your university, you can search people based on your university, and then you can socialize, make connections, and that also will help you get a job here, a desk job which pays you better, and not like a job that doesn't pay you enough.
Right. So definitely this information will be helpful to upcoming students, right? Thank you
Hopefully.
so much. Yeah, sure. I think that the information that you provided definitely that may help students. Thank you so much for talking to us, Sophia. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It was all my pleasure. If you have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer and direct.
Thank you. If you like the video, kindly subscribe the channel. Thank you. Bye.
Yes. Bye.